Can't focus? Tabs open, phone buzzing, brain bouncing from task to task, and somehow the day ends with nothing deep done. The fix isn't another app. It's the 4-hour rule. One protected block of deep work every day. Do this and your focus gets stronger, your output climbs, and your stress drops. Your brain adapts to what you repeat. Train depth, not distraction. In this video, I'll show you the setup, the scheduling formula, the execution mechanics, the recovery protocol, and the simple fixes when you slip. If you want more practical strategies like this, hit subscribe now. Why your brain can't focus, and why 4 hours works. Here's the thing. Constant context switching taxes your working memory. Each time you peek at email, your brain leaves a little attention residue behind. So when you return to the hard task, you're slower, sloppier, and more likely to quit. Multiply that by dozens of tiny checks, and depth never gets a chance to form. Most people try to outrun this with scattered to-do lists and always-on notifications. The problem? That workflow rewards speed, not depth. You feel busy but produce shallow fragments. The key is neuroplasticity. Your brain gets better at whatever you practice. Practice distraction, and you'll default to it. Practice depth, and your brain will learn to drop in faster and stay longer. So why 4 hours? Because most high cognition output clusters into a few peak hours per day. You don't need 12. You need one powerful block where you gather attention, reduce input, and push a single problem forward. When you repeat that block daily, your baseline focus improves, like progressive overload at the gym. Depth begets depth. The 4-hour rule means one contiguous 4-hour block or 2 clean 2-hour blocks. Both work. Choose based on your reality. The principle doesn't change. Protect the hours, narrow the scope, and remove options. Think of focus like a muscle. You stress it with deliberate effort. You recover. Then you stress it again slightly better. Over time, the cycle changes your capacity. This clicked for me when I stopped treating deep work like a bonus and started treating it like a non-negotiable appointment. The shift wasn't about heroics, it was about consistency. When you know your brain's best hours and you remove friction, you stop wasting willpower and start building momentum. Now you might be thinking, how do I actually get 4 hours when my calendar is chaos? Good question. The scheduling formula is simple, and it's kinder to your brain than what you're doing now. Let me show you exactly how to design and protect those hours so they stick. The setup. Design your daily 4 hours. Scheduling formula. Start by finding your peak window. For the next 3 days, track when you feel most alert, when interruptions spike, and when your energy dips. You're looking for a stretch where you can protect 2 to 4 hours, not perfection. Morning often wins, but let the data show you. Choose your structure. If your days are relatively controllable, lock a single 4-hour block. If interruptions are frequent, go 2 by 2. 2 clean 2-hour blocks separated by at least an hour. Default to 2 by 2 if you're unsure. Consistency beats ambition. Create a focus contract. Write it down before each block. Start time, end time, exact task scope, and rules. Rules include which apps are allowed, which sites are blocked, and where your phone lives. Out of reach is a setting, not a hope. The contract turns intention into a boundary you can follow. Use the 3R pre-block ritual. Reset. Clear the desk, close extra tabs, and put supplies within arm's reach. Roadmap. Define 3 milestones that, if done, make the session a win. Rehearse. Visualize the first action your hands will take. Open the file, type the first ugly paragraph, run the first query. When you know the first move, starting is easier. Apply the task selection filter. Pick high-leverage work in a single cognitive domain with a clear definition of done. Don't mix writing and research, or design and admin, in the same block. One domain, one mission. If it's not moving a meaningful lever, it doesn't belong in your deep hours. Time box the cadence. Use either 50-10 cycles or 75-15. Both add up to depth with planned micro-recovery. Decide the cadence before you start and stick to it so you avoid micro-decisions mid-block. When the timer runs, you work. When it breaks, you stand, breathe, and avoid inputs. Minimize tools to reduce toggles. One main document, one scratch pad, one dataset or reference. Full screen the primary tool. Hide the dock. Turn off badges. The fewer doorways your attention sees, the less it wanders. Now, set the calendar. Book your 4-hour block first, then fit meetings around it. If someone asks for that time, offer office hours outside your deep window. Communicate availability. I'm heads down 9/11 and 1/3. I'm available before or after. When you set expectations early, people adapt. Here's the shortcut nobody teaches. Preload the session. Before you end today, cue the file, outline, or dataset you'll start with tomorrow. Leave a breadcrumb note that tells your future self the exact next action. This shrinks the cost of re-entry and protects momentum. Now you've scheduled it. Next comes execution without breaking. That's where the mechanics and on-the-spot fixes matter. Execution, deep work, mechanics, and on-the-spot fixes. Let's get you moving with the 3-minute launch. Start the timer, open the file, and produce something ugly on purpose. A rough paragraph, a quick outline, or a bare-bones plan. The goal is frictionless motion. Perfection shows up later. Momentum first. Now here's where most people mess up. They treat every distraction like an emergency. Use distraction triage. Capture, commit, continue. Capture it on your scratch pad. Commit a time to handle it after the block or during the next break. Continue right where you left off. The act of writing it down frees your mind to stay put. When your attention wobbles, climb the concentration ladder. First rung, breathe 4-7-8. 4 in, 7 hold, 8 out, 3 cycles. Second rung, zoom in on one tiny substep, the smallest unit that moves the work. Third rung, restart your timer and re-enter the cadence. You don't need motivation, you need the next rung. Beat resistance with the just 10 more rule. If you want to bail, promise yourself 10 more minutes. Most dips pass if you push through the first few minutes. Raise the friction to quit. Full screen your tool, hide the dock, and keep your phone in another room. Make stopping harder than continuing. When you stall, change the channel without leaving the task. Swap modality. If you're typing, switch to handwriting or a whiteboard. Change the question. Ask, what would a bad version look like? Set a micro-research cap of 5 minutes if you truly need a fact. When the timer ends, you're back to building, not browsing. Track simple metrics so you can iterate. After each block, rate the session 1-5, note milestones hit, and count interruptions. If your score is low, adjust one rule for next time. Maybe you need a stricter app block, a tighter scope, or a longer warm-up. Small tweaks compound. Depth taxes the brain. You just did hard neural work. To lock in gains and show up strong tomorrow, recovery isn't optional. It's part of the system. Recovery, sustainment, and scaling to your life start with a recovery protocol, 20 to 30 minutes of no-input rest. Stand up, walk, get light movement, or look at distant objects. No feeds, no inbox. Let your nervous system downshift. This is where your brain consolidates what you did. Run a quick shutdown ritual. Write tomorrow's first action in one sentence. Park any open loops on a list, and close the tools you won't need. When your brain trusts that the work is captured, rumination drops and evening energy returns. Protect sleep like a project. Anchor your bedtime and wake time, and follow the 90-minute rule before bed. No heavy inputs, no intense problem solving. Light reading, stretching, or a calm walk beats late-night scrolling. Sleep is the multiplier for tomorrow's focus. Reset your environment. Tidy the workspace, preload the first file, and set your timer tool so it's one click away. Future you should arrive to a runway, not a mess. Do a weekly review. Total your deep hours, list wins, and identify friction sources. Did meetings invade your peak window? Are your milestones too big? Adjust the time windows and the scope. Consistency comes from iteration. Scale the system to your life. Aim to protect 4 hours on 4 to 5 days a week. On overloaded days, use a 60 to 90-minute mini depth to keep the habit alive. The key is a daily vote for depth, even if the vote is small. Create social contracts. Tell teammates your availability windows and offer office hours outside them. Put your deep work blocks on the calendar with a clear label. When expectations shift, push the block, don't cancel it. You're training your brain and your environment at the same time. Common pitfalls and simple fixes. If your to-do list is overstuffed, you'll thrash. Fix it with 1 mission per block and 3 milestones. Anything else goes to the parking lot. If notifications leak through, turn on system level, do not disturb, and whitelist only critical contacts. Silence is a setting, not a mood. If meetings creep, book your 4 hours first and share office hours for others. Offer clear alternatives instead of vague maybes. If perfectionism slows you down, commit to an ugly first pass and a separate quality pass. Creation and editing live in different blocks. If energy dips hit, hydrate, eat light protein, get daylight, and take short movement breaks. Avoid heavy snacks and doom scrolls. Quick physiology wins beat willpower. If you relapse, use minimum viable depth, 1 25-minute sprint to keep the streak and reset identity. Momentum over guilt. One more, tool hopping. If you keep switching apps, lock to 1 main tool and 1 scratch pad. Reduce choice, reduce drift. And if you find yourself researching forever, use the 5-minute micro-research cap with a hard return to building. Research should serve output, not replace it. The key takeaway is simple. When something breaks, shrink the scope, tighten the rules, and protect the cadence. You're not failing, you're tuning the system. Train depth daily. Protect 4 hours, follow the ritual, execute the cadence, and recover well. Your brain adapts to what you repeat. Now schedule tomorrow's deep block and write the first action you'll take. If you want the advanced systems, weekly deep work maps, energy stacking, and meeting firewalls, watch the next video. Subscribe for practical focus strategies and check the links below for templates.